The world saw Aldrich Vane as a man made of steel, a young millionaire with silver hair that contrasted sharply with his dark suits, perfectly polished shoes, and an expression so calm that it almost felt carved from stone. But behind the calmness lived silence, real, unending silence. Aldrich had lost his hearing at 19 after a sudden illness, and though he rebuilt his life, founded a tech company and earned wealth most people only dreamed of, the silence inside him grew louder with every success. People praised him, admired him, whispered about him, but they did not understand him. Every day, Aldrich dined alone in the private rooftop lounge of his company's headquarters, watching the city move noiselessly below. He never complained, never asked for sympathy, but the loneliness settled into him like a permanent shadow no sunlight could burn away. And on one bright, quiet afternoon, when everything seemed painfully ordinary, something happened that he never could have predicted, something that began with a cleaning lady's infant son. If you believe kindness deserves a second chance, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my Thora Tales right now. Your support helps stories like this continue to reach hearts across the world. Aldrich had chosen this particular afternoon to dine earlier than usual. The sky was clear, the city bathed in daylight, and from the rooftop the world looked like a bright painting. He sat at his usual table by the glass wall, eating in complete silence, reading lips of employees who passed by and lowered their voices, assuming he couldn't read what they said. People often thought deafness made him fragile, but it was the opposite. His silence had made him stronger, sharper, more aware. Yet even strength couldn't fill the ache of isolation. He rarely interacted with anyone outside of work matters, and he never stayed long enough to form any personal connection. The only regular presence he noticed was a cleaning lady who came. During the afternoon shift, a woman named Karima, humble in posture, calm in nature, and always accompanied by her 6-month-old son, cradled carefully in a cloth wrap against her chest as she worked. She couldn't afford daycare, and Aldrich had quietly allowed her to keep the job because he admired her resilience. That afternoon, as Aldrich finished half of his meal, the rooftop doors slid open, and Karima stepped in, her baby sleeping peacefully against her. Sunlight fell across the baby's tiny face, illuminating his soft cheeks and tiny curled fingers. Aldrich always watched from afar, admiring the innocence of the child. But today, something unusual happened. As Karima placed a stack of towels on the shelf, the baby woke, let out a soft cry, and wriggled eagerly in his wrap. Aldrich didn't hear the cry, but he saw the movement, and something in him softened, just slightly. The child twisted, looked around with bright eyes, and then, unexpectedly, stretched both arms toward Aldrich as if reaching for him. Karima froze, startled, unsure of how Aldrich would react. She mouthed an apology he easily read, but Aldrich surprised her by shaking his head gently and extending his hands, offering to hold the baby. The woman hesitated, then slowly, gratefully, unwrapped the child and placed him into Aldrich's arms. It was the first time Aldrich had held a baby since he was a teenager, long before his life changed. The baby, named Rehan, touched Aldrich's face, exploring his features with tiny fingers that carried no judgment, no curiosity about his silence, only pure, unaffected affection. And for the first time in years, Aldrich felt something break open inside him. Something warm, something human he believed he had lost. As Aldrich held the baby, daylight streaming across them, memories he buried deep resurfaced. His own mother used to cup his face gently like this before she passed away shortly after his illness. Holding Rehan felt like touching an echo of a life he thought he'd never reclaim. The life where he wasn't alone, where he wasn't isolated by the barrier of sound loss. His eyes glistened unexpectedly, surprising him, but the baby only cooed softly and patted his chest, as if acknowledging his brokenness with innocent acceptance. Karima watched from the corner, hands trembling slightly. She had seen Aldrich's cold exterior for years, and now she witnessed a crack in his armor, a moment of vulnerability that made her heart ache. Suddenly, the baby leaned forward, pressing his small hand gently against Aldrich's throat. It wasn't random, it wasn't playful. The baby's hand rested right where Aldrich's voice vibrations would be felt if he spoke. Aldrich whispered a sound instinctively, a low hum he hadn't produced in years, and though he couldn't hear it, he felt it. And the baby smiled, clapping softly. The sensation struck Aldrich deeply. It was as if the child had reminded him that even in silence, he still existed, he still had a voice, he still had a presence. Karima wiped her eyes quietly, overwhelmed by the moment. She never imagined a billionaire, her boss, would hold her child with such tenderness. When Aldrich finally handed Rehan back, something had changed inside him. He signaled to Karima to sit for a moment, offering her some water and a place to rest. She hesitated but complied. Aldrich used simple notes and gestures to ask about her life, learning for the first time how difficult her struggles truly were. A single mother working 2 jobs, barely making ends meet, yet always carrying herself with dignity. He admired her more than he expected. Over the next days, Aldrich found himself looking forward to the afternoon cleaning routine. Rehan would always reach for him, and each time Aldrich held him, the world felt less empty.